Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa salatu wa salamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i min mursalin Sayyidina Mawlana Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. All praises are due to Allah, Lord of the universes. All praises are due to Allah, who is the first, the last, the manifest, the hidden, the one who has might and power over all things. All praises are due to Allah, who sent His chosen messenger, Sayyidina Muhammad ﷺ, as a mercy to the universes. And may all peace and blessings be upon the seal of prophethood, the Imam of the messengers, the most noble in creation, the master of the first and the last, the grandfather of Hassan and Hussein, Sayyidina Muhammad ﷺ, and upon his noble family and blessed companions, especially upon the four Khulafa Rashidin, Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq, Hazrat Umar al-Faruq, Hazrat Osman al-Ghani, and Hazrat Ali al-Murtaza, and all those who follow them until the last day. Ya ayyuhal mu'minun, O believers, welcome to you on this day of Jummah, the third Jummah of the month of Jumad al-Akhir. Welcome to you as we're getting nearer and nearer to the holy month of Rajab, the month of Allah. Welcome to those who are preparing and are making themselves ready to greet that holy month. And we are beginning the khutbah in the tradition of our Ottoman grandfathers, reading from their khutbah saying, Ya Allah, have mercy on the Khalifas who have been on the right path, and the Imams who have been well guided, who have ruled with righteousness and have struggled for justice. Ya Allah, aid and help your servant, your Khalifa, the great Sultan, the exalted Khagan, the shadow of Allah on earth, the Mawla of the kings of Arab and Ajam, the servant of the two holy masjids. Because he is a Sultan, son of a Sultan, the Ghazi Sultan Abdul Hamid Khan, son of the Ghazi Sultan Abdul Majid Khan, son of the Ghazi Sultan Mahmud Khan. May Allah cause the Khilafat to endure. And may Allah spread justice in his reign and cause righteousness and generosity to extend on the two worlds to the end of times and the end of ages. Ameen. O you who answers those who call upon you, O you who is the best of helpers, Ya Allah, help him with a victory, with a help of holiness, and make him victorious with a near victory. O believers, never forget that the khutbah was read in this manner for 1400 years of Islam. And it is only in the last 100 years that we have been humiliated to not be allowed to read the khutbah in the name of our Sultan. And we are crying out to our Lord and asking for the Sultan to return and to be counted as those who are hoping to hear the khutbah in the name of the Sultan. Ameen. Ya ayyuhal mu'minun. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said in the Holy Quran, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, the day when neither wealth nor children will benefit anyone, but only the one who comes to Allah with a qalbin salim, a pure heart. And he's saying in another ayat, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, do you see the one who has taken his desires as his ilah? Allah has, knowing him as such, left him astray and sealed his hearing and his heart and put a cover on his sight. Who then will guide him besides Allah? Will you not then be reminded? Sadaqallahu al-Azim. And the Holy Prophet ﷺ is saying in his Hadith Sharif, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, when the servant performs a sin, a black spot appears on his heart. And if he seeks forgiveness, this black spot is removed. And if he returns to sin, the black spot grows until his heart becomes black. And this is the seal about which Allah said, on their heart is the covering of sins which they used to earn. O believers, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Holy Prophet ﷺ, they are giving us a very heavy warning in these ayats and this hadith about one part of our body. And that part of our body is our heart. As Holy Prophet ﷺ is saying about the heart, if that clump of flesh in the body is good, then the whole body is good. But if it becomes bad, then the whole body becomes bad. So what is happening to us? And what is happening to our hearts? Hujatul Islam, Imam al-Ghazali, radiallahu an, is giving the signs of a dead heart and a sick heart. He is describing a sick heart, saying, it prefers the pleasures of its ego to pleasing Allah. Its desires are its imam. Its lust is its guide. Its ignorance is its leader. Its disgusting desire to give it energy. It is only concerned with dunya. It is drunk with its own desires and its love of worldly pleasures. It is reminded about Allah and the Akhirat, but it doesn't care when it listens. And he is saying about the sick heart, it is listening to two voices. One calling it to Allah and His Prophet ﷺ and the Akhirat, and the other calling it to the temporary pleasures of the dunya. It responds to whichever one of the two happens to have most influence over it at the time. And Hazrat Ibn Ata'illah al-Iskandari is saying, a sign of the death of the heart is lack of sadness about good actions you have missed, and a lack of regret about your mistakes. O believers, we have to look at ourselves and ask sincerely, what is the state of our heart? Do I have an alive heart? Or is my heart dead? Because having a dead heart, it is more serious than any sickness that we can have in this dunya. That sickness of the heart, that killing of the heart, it will ruin our dunya and our akhirat. Hazrat Zulnun Misri Karasla Sir is saying, the body's weakness comes from illnesses, while the heart's weakness comes from sins. And just as the body does not taste the flavor of food when it is ill, the heart does not taste the delights of worship while it is sinful. So in reality, if we have killed our hearts without sinning, without disobedience, without ignorance, and our arrogance, then we are going to be cut off from the pleasure of Allah and of His Prophet. We are going to find ourselves moving away more from zikr, from amal, from ibadat, from sohbat, and we're going to be left alone by ourselves. What is the way to cure the heart? The only way for the heart to be cured is to be in the company of the doctor of the heart, to be in the sohbat of those who understand the diseases of the heart, and they know how to clean that heart. We have to be in the company of the friends of Allah. Hazrat Sultan Bahu is saying, a perfect master scrubs his murids like a laundryman rubs and beats dirt out of clothes. But unlike the laundryman who needs soap, the master purifies with his gaze, removing all traces of dirt from the murid's heart. And the true master, the true guide, if he is cleaning us, that cleaning is going to hurt us. Because just as a piece of metal that has been rusted over needs to be scraped and bruised in order to become cleansed, the same way our hearts, which have gotten so dirty, it needs to be cleaned. And the problem today with the Muslims is that they do not want someone who is going to tell them what their problem is. They do not want to consult with someone who is going to say to them, you have a dead heart. You are proud, you are arrogant, you are stubborn. They don't want to hear this. Instead, they want to go and sit with people who will tell them, you are a saint, you are the best one, you're already a friend of Allah. And because Muslims do not want to clean themselves, and they don't want to sit with the ones who can clean them, they have reached to the point of disaster. That is why in the whole world, in this world full of people whose hearts are dead, there is so much cruelty and tyranny. Because if the heart is dead with sin, then definitely it is not going to care about other people. It is not going to care about the suffering of other people. It is not going to care about how to help other people. But during the times before, people whose hearts were alive, they cared. The Khalifas, from the time of Hazrat Umar to the time of the Ottomans, they used to go out at night time in disguise to sit with the people and to understand what they were going through. They used to lift sacks of flour on their own backs so they could help other people. Because when the heart is alive, it is going to be looking at how to help the servants of Allah. It is going to be able to see that other people are in pain, and it is going to help those people. And that help did not just extend to the Muslims. When Sultan Abdul Majid heard about the suffering of the Irish during the potato famine, his heart was so moved that he sent 5 ships full of food as well as monetary aid to the Irish, more than Queen Victoria herself sent. And that is the spirit of Islam that shows itself when the heart is alive. That spirit can only come alive if somebody is sitting in the company of the awliya. And that bringing back to life, it is not going to be easy. Just like when the physical heart dies, they have to use a machine to electric shock it back to life. The same way the awliya have to work very hard to bring our hearts back to life. Just like Maulana Rumi is telling the story, saying, once an awliya was riding his horse and he saw a snake crawling into a sleeping man's mouth. He began to whip that man. The man was so terrified, he had no idea why he was being whipped. And that awliya kept whipping him and made him run to an apple tree where there were old rotten apples on the ground. And that awliya was whipping the man, saying, eat those apples. And the man started eating. And the man was crying. He was crying and saying, why are you doing this to me? What did I ever do to you? And that man started cursing to that awliya, asking Allah for revenge against the man who was whipping him for no reason. And the awliya kept whipping him and forced the man to eat so many rotten apples until he couldn't eat anymore. And then he kept whipping that man and made him run until finally the man threw up. And when he threw up, he saw that poisonous snake come out of his body. When the man saw the snake, he began kissing that awliya's feet, saying, are you Jibril? Who are you? May the moment you saw me be blessed. I was dead and I didn't know it. You gave me new life. Everything I did to you was wrong and I didn't know. And that awliya said, if I had explained what I was doing, you would have panicked and died of fear. And the Holy Prophet ﷺ said, if I describe the enemy that lives inside men, even the bravest one would be paralyzed. And the awliya then said, I saw your condition and drove my horse hard into the middle of it, saying always under my breath, Ya Rabbi, make it easy on him. I didn't have permission to tell you, and I wasn't permitted to stop beating you. Oh believers, that is the reality of the work that our guide is doing on us. He is helping us to become alive. He is saving us from being dead. We are asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless our Shaykh and to make us to be those ones who understand his work and make us to be grateful to him and make us to serve his way.